You're watching Fugitive Red-Eye, and welcome to another anime review. If you notice, in the title it says I'm only reviewing Dr. Slump movies 1 through 5. And to put it plain and simple, the reason for that is those are the only parts of Dr. Slump that have been released in the US, other than the manga. But as far as the anime goes, only the movies have been released in the US. And only the first 5 movies at that. There's actually a total of 11 movies and over 300 anime episodes split across 2 different anime series. If you're unfamiliar with Dr. Slump, it was created by Akira Toriyama before he created Dragon Ball, and in fact it takes place in the same universe as Dragon Ball. If you've seen the original Dragon Ball, then you may remember the Penguin Village episode, which has several characters from Dr. Slump, such as Sour Man, also known as Superman if you want to go by the original Japanese name, Dr. Slump himself, or Senbei Norimaki as his name actually is, and of course the most iconic character from the Dr. Slump franchise, Aurelie. Dr. Slump follows the inhabitants of Penguin Village throughout their day-to-day lives and these little stupid silly adventures they go on. It's a very lighthearted series, even more lighthearted than the original Dragon Ball was itself, and it never really takes itself too seriously. With these movies, there's little to no continuity in them. In fact, one movie is a complete reimagining of the characters in a different time period with different roles, but it just has the characters going on lighthearted, wacky adventures. The first movie is about Dr. Slump wanting to create a love potion, so him and Aurelie go to this island to try and get these tears from a demon. It's not very serious and is very goofy and wacky. The second movie is a little bit different in that it has a lot of space battles, and in fact has to do with like this whole thing where the teacher gets actually tricked into going to this evil guy who wants to get her to marry him, and basically there's this big space battle to try and rescue her. The third movie involves around them going on a race, which is very similar to things like Speed Racer or Wacky Races, and it being an over-the-top cartoony race. The fourth movie is very different from the others in that it's set in 1929 and has Aurelie and a few other characters as part of a ninja clan. They're a ninja clan that works for an orphanage to go and steal food for them, and they also find this jewel that allows them to grant wishes, which to me sounds very similar to the Dragon Balls themselves, obviously, and that would make sense since this is Toriyama and Dragon Ball came after Dr. Slump, so maybe he had some inspiration from this. It's hard to say, in all honesty, because obviously gems granting wishes isn't exactly a new concept even at the time. It is something that's been around for a long time. The fifth movie is about a legendary city that is supposed to be the dream city of children, which is run completely by mechs that will grant children's every wish. It's filled with a lot of pop culture references. In fact, the very beginning of it has a big reference to that old movie Metropolis, and in fact, the movie itself is called Mechopolis, so as you can see, there's a correlation there. Probably my favorite reference it has, though, is there's actually a scene where one of the kids gets turned into Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star and actually starts fucking destroying robots by hitting them with his Fist of the North Star attack. As for some actual plot details, Aurelie is an android created by Dr. Slump, and she's really powerful. In fact, in Dragon Ball Super, it's implied that she's stronger than both Goku and Vegeta, and she doesn't really abide by the laws of physics. In fact, that's even a joke Vegeta makes when he fights her in Dragon Ball Super. The series itself is ripe with fourth wall breaks, over-the-top, off-the-wall humor that doesn't make any sense, and poop jokes. I looked into this on the Dragon Ball wiki because I was curious as to whether or not it was supposed to be actual poop. And yes, it is. It's just drawn really cartoony. Apparently, Aurelie herself is very into poop because she's not able to poop herself, so she's fascinated by it. The movies themselves are actually quite entertaining. They're very lighthearted, like I said, but there is some action in there and some adventure too, which I really like the adventure in this series. It also has a lot of great characters, and the humor is fantastic. I love this series. I think the biggest problem is that we don't have enough of it released in the US. Like I said, Discotek has only licensed the first 5 movies out of 11, and none of the actual anime seasons have been released here at all. As always with Toriyama, there are some name puns involved. Really the only ones I could pick up on were Mechopolis, obviously being a pun on Metropolis. Superman being, of course, Superman. And in the fourth movie, the castle is called Enaba, which is like banana, but obviously not. If you're a fan of Dragon Ball, I highly recommend checking it out, because like I said, technically this is set within the same universe. And lots of these characters do have cameos in both Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Super. I don't think any of them do in Z, but I could be wrong. In my opinion, though, what they should really do is make a spin-off dedicated completely to Sour Man, or Superman if you want to go by the Japanese name. Like I said, his name is actually different in English and Japanese. But I'm going to call him Sour Man for simplicity's sake, but I think they should do a Sour Man spin-off, a series completely dedicated to him. In fact, from what I've read online, it looks like Sour Man was originally going to be the character of Dr. Slump. He was going to be the main character. It was going to be the Sour Man series. But when Toriyama took it in Jump, they said who would make a series about this stupid character, so instead he was just made into a side character. Personally, though, I would love to see a Sour Man spin-off, and if Toriyama ever does that, you best believe I'm going to be watching it. If you're in the mood for a little lighthearted fun, I recommend picking up the Discotheque DVD set of the first 5 movies and giving it a watch. This has been Fugitive Red Eye, and you have a great day.
Subscribe to Fugitive Red Eye.